Greetings, baby dolls. I am watching a video from Crypto Chocolate Guys, KSB, and they have a Hex and Zen comparison, and I love it because I observed something. I am not here to tell you one is up, one is down, black, white, none of that. I'm just here to show you an observation that this was exactly the story of Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin, and also Avalanche and Ethereum, also Binance and Ethereum. All right, this has been played before, so this is a great video from the KSB guys. And Hex, right, and Zen, you can see here they have the same properties. Okay, so to the untrained eye, you will see, you're like, okay, self-custody, wow, right? Give it a ticky here. We like self-custody. You got security and no admin keys. So what's happening is they're dressing up features of Hex and Zen, and what's actually happening is you get confused. So this is what happened with the Bitcoin and the Bitcoin Cash guys. They started looking at the principles of Bitcoin and they started to blur the lines, and people got trapped in Bitcoin Cash. Now, whether you believe in the principles or not, it didn't really matter. It only came down to one thing, and maybe you know what that is. It's all about the price. The price has to go up. The price means network effect is growing. Price means numbers. It means demand. People speculate on future demand. Even Satoshi understood this. That's why there's the Bitcoin halvening. Okay? So in this Hex and Zen video comparison, you will see that, you know, they have the same things, man. Like your self-custody and security and then admin keys and inclusion, interoperability, privacy, decentralization. These are noble causes, but none of it means anything if the price doesn't go up. I'm not going to just talk to you with examples. I'm going to show you the exact proof here, okay? So with Bitcoin, you got the chart up here. Bitcoin Cash came out and it was very controversial. So if you're new to crypto, what happened was Bitcoin Cash came in. They wanted to do things differently. They wanted to make the blocks of Bitcoin bigger so they would be faster. So instead of having this block, they want to make it like bigger so you can store more information. And because we are friends here, there is a pencil with notes here. Yeah, storing information. All right. You still want information. And logically, you look at this and you say, all right, this is a logical upgrade. This should work. But what happened was it failed because the network didn't want to move. People didn't want to move over. Here's the BCH BTC chart. Okay, so this shows you how it did against Bitcoin. So BCH, BTC, and it's a big fat poopy face. Look at this. It's down 97% against Bitcoin. Okay, there's going to be a poopy emoji here as well. Actually, it's down so much, we're going to give it 2 poopy emoji. So, you know what the crazy part is, friends? Roger Ver was an OG Bitcoiner, okay? He bought Bitcoin at $1, 280,000 Bitcoin. And the rumor was he tried to force Bitcoin Cash to flip. That's why it opened up so much. At this point, man, Bitcoin Cash was 20% of Bitcoin's price. So that is absolutely nuts, man. Oh, man, that's crazy. That's so much Bitcoin lost. The rumor was he spent, I don't know, 40 to 80,000 Bitcoin. I don't even want to think about that. That is to up this. He just gave money. So here's Roger. Okay, Roger. He basically just gave money to everybody in their free wallets, right? This is everybody else. He gave money here. Because if you give it too fast, people dump. Okay, that's what happens. And nobody had to pay for BCH. So they marketed basically Roger as a vampire to Bitcoin, a betrayer. It was like one of the great Judas stories. It was so sad, right, when it happened. But we can learn from it, man. Because I'm saying the same thing here. Okay? Now, I'm not going to know how this story ends 100%. We're not going to pretend to know. But I'm just letting you know. I'm here to learn. If you see all these features and there is now affinity marketing between them. Like, oh, Hex and Zen, they both have these, right? You now have to check this and remember one thing. The price matters most. The most, all right? Bitcoin only goes up because of the Bitcoin halvening in such a shocking fashion. Look at this. Bitcoin halvening, that was right here, right? Huge, huge effect. Huge effect. This is what draws everyone in, all right? So even Satoshi understood this back in the day when he made the white paper. But now you want to compare Hex and Zen. You think, okay, are there more examples where we can draw a lesson from, right? And yes, there are. You know Ethereum, right? Ethereum, let's change the log chart. Ethereum had a lot of betrayers. A lot of other EVMs come out. They want to fork Ethereum. I mean, even Pulse Chain's doing it. And they say, hey, we can drop. So Ethereum is like, here's the D for decentralization. Ethereum is like one hugely decentralized thing, right? And people come in and they're like, hey, you know, and here's Ethereum's speed, right? The speed is slow. And people say, hey, can we make the decentralization, you know, like a bit of a smaller arrow and we increase the speed, you know, 3x. That's what people are trying to do now. They're trying to make the decentralization, let's say the decentralization units for Ethereum is like 100. They're trying to now make it here, like, oh, they're trying to play with and tweak them. They're like, hey, can we get it down to like, you know, 30? Can we get the decentralization down lower? And the speed, right? The speed gets inverted, right? Because Ethereum's got 30 speed, maybe you can make this 100 speed. So that's the parameters everyone's playing with. Just like they try to play with Bitcoin Cash. But it all comes down to the price. That's the only thing that matters at the end of the day. And I get asked this all the time. I get asked, okay, what comes first? The people or the price move? Let me tell you something. If a whale big enough wants to make moves, they hit market and they send the price nuclear through the roof. Go look at SHIB and what happened. SHIB's price going up attracted so much more people. Okay, there's so many examples of this happening. Even Bitcoin, Satoshi, everybody understands this. You put the price high enough for a commodity and people value it more. It's all about perception of value. Isn't that crazy? We should think the opposite, right? We should think that if something goes up, it's too expensive. Doesn't happen with humans, man. It doesn't. So as a price goes up, people think, oh my God, this thing is more valuable. It's more like a diamond than a Rolex and a Ferrari and a mansion. So I should pay more attention to it, okay? And that's how assets and investing works, right? But if you think about it in the opposite way, you get ahead of the crowd, okay? Now it's all about perception of value. So, you know, Ethereum's story is very similar, you know? So we went through the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash story, and they also had BSV, and there's even Litecoins, all these guys playing with the different parameters. Now, what about Ethereum? Ethereum, you remember, Avalanche came out, snow-themed Avalanche. Let's put a snow emoji. Snow-themed Avalanche come out, and then, actually, you know what? This snowman is not good enough. I'm sorry, friends. All right, this is better. Avalanche comes out, and this is Avalanche ETH ratio, okay? It's oscillating. And they come out and they start being like really anti-Ethereum up here. They're like, yeah, we're going to take over the world. Everything's great. Snow-themed. And now they just come and they smack down. And it's still down 70% from the high. It's not down to zero. And you have to now think, how does this play out from the future? Because remember, from this PowerPoint slide, it's the same thing, right? Look at this. Self-custody, security, no admin keys, inclusion, interoperability, privacy, decentralization. So what these chains try to do, see this decentralization part? This is basically anti-speed, okay? So they're trying to get this a bit down so they can just put speed up, right? This is for layer 1 chains, and try to put this speed up more so they can basically get more use case from the developers coming in. You know, can you make applications that need to do more messaging, transactions, and what's going on from here, right? So we don't know how this story ends. That's what no one really knows this story, because traditionally what happened in the 90s and early 2000s was whoever got the most network effect at the start, they win, because everyone is in the network and no one can be bothered leaving. So if there's a smaller network here, everybody's like, nah, I'd rather suffer and stay with everyone else rather than jump over. The thing that makes you jump over has to be more than 10x better, okay? That's how Bitcoin was able to take adoption from, say, bank transfer, because Bitcoin was more than 10 times faster than them. So if they were going for, like, 3, 4, 5 days, a week for you to get your money. Bitcoin was like 10 minutes, man, or like 50, 60 minutes. That's more than a 10x increase, right? So it's the same thing with these layer 1 chains, but we don't have the applications yet, so you can actually see and test this out. That's why we're still so early to crypto, right? Because we don't have many use cases. You've got store of value, you have layer 1 chains, L1 chains, you have privacy, but that's not really a thing, right? You have DEXs. You're going to have now the next thing, right? We're waiting for gaming, metaverse, more to come, right? So all of these that start to come later on, we're going to need more TPS. But they can't exist unless someone has the platform ready for them. So that's why all these other layer 1s out here, they're trying to play the game of, hey, can we put developers out to make something cool that's really fast and get developers to like bring in more users, and then we'll get the adoption, right? So no one really knows how this plays out. Ethereum guys believe they've won already and they're going to take over everything. But when you think about it, man, just like how people come in now and they don't care about the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash story, and now I think in the next 3, 4, 5 years, people won't care about the Ethereum decentralization story. I can see that, okay? And then just roll that forward again. People aren't going to care about the original principles as time goes on. So original principles, come and look at this. You have HEX and XEN, right? So at the end of the day, the only principle people really care about is price, man. It's price. What one's price is going up? Which one's going down? That's really what it comes down to, right? So XEN's one's going down. Can they turn it around? They have an enormous future supply. So that's why I've made so many videos, heaps, talking about the circle. You need to grow this circle bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what you have to do. Their messaging is not, okay? The strategy so far is, let's give everyone XEN, right? And it's worth nothing over time. Let's give everyone XEN, and then we'll try implement more games, closed circle Ponzi's, like these other like Hex Clone, all these other little game stuff, NFT things. That's the strategy they're trying to do. But you now know, man, I've already told you now. This is I'm not even making this up. People respect when prices go up. As the price goes up, people put more value on it. I know it's counterintuitive, but that's what happens with assets. Because with assets, you're putting labor units into something. So when it goes up, we interpret that in our mind as it getting more valuable. Because we respect other people's labor units. So this is a little stick man, right? And he works for a whole day and he puts his wage into an asset. And then if that asset's price goes up, this up arrow, you will take note of that. And you see this green candle on the chart and you go, oh my God, this guy's labor unit. So remember this guy, he worked for 1 day, yeah? Well, maybe this asset goes up so much, like 50x. Now he's worth 50 days. You're like, oh my God, he turned 1 day of labor units into 50 days. This asset must be special. What's going on, right? Satoshi understood this more than anyone else. That's why the Bitcoin halving is in there, and he didn't talk about it in the white paper. He knows with commodities, as the price goes up, people think differently about them. Okay? So, what have you learned from this? All these parameters exist. You can tweak and do this and do that. You have your cute little snowman emoji, but there are stories here. You can learn the same principles, okay? Layer 1, so we had store of value. You had look at this. We have store of value. You have Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Cash, like the first betrayer, okay? Then you have L1 chains. You have Ethereum and, you know, Avalanche, BNB, you know. You're going to have Pulse Chain too. Pulse Chain's going to do the same thing. They're not even hiding it. They're saying, hey, we're going to come take Ethereum users because we're going to make them cheaper, okay? These other chains, there's no real huge use case blue chip like sector for them yet. But it's probably going to happen. Look at this. By the way, DEXs, okay? DEXs is one. So we're going to delete privacy here. Look at this. DEXs, you know. Uniswap was forked. Uniswap, SushiSwap. Remember, SushiSwap, they were able to put the token with Uni and just fork it off and say, hey, come put your liquidity in. We'll give you a token. And people went for it. They wanted to have value. Remember, crypto solves the biggest problem we have on the internet, which is transferring value. So that is the problem we're going to take on moving forward. So when it doesn't matter what it is, Hex, XEN, Ethereum, layer 1 chains, Bitcoin, the store of value, you just got to remember all these little cute words, privacy, no admin keys, all these things, they only go so far, okay? At the end of the day, You know what time it is when you see green candles. That's all you're here for. When people see green candles, that's when everyone flocks. That's when everyone takes notice. Everyone says they're a genius. Everyone pays attention. Okay, and that's what gets them. Absolutely. Most media, everyone comes in and really takes note of that. So don't be fooled by any of these. They're great to talk about. You get to analyze them from different perspectives. But at the end of the day, everything's a network effect. And you got to look to your left and right and think, is this network effect growing? What is the marketing message from people in there? Are the people in the community, in the tribe, are they recruiting more people? Are they signing up their mum, dad, grandma, their pet duck? Are they signing them up? Or are they saying, oh, well, people are going to like it naturally, okay? Because I'll tell you right now, in crypto, it's hyper competitive. If their strategy is, we're just the best and we don't have to do anything and we're going to hand this coin out and it's so good that people are going to come naturally, if you really have that perspective, you're going to lose. Only Bitcoin could do that because it was one of one, okay? And now the competition's getting harder. Until next time, friends.